Hey everybody, hope you're well, and it's James here, and I'm really excited that we've got a great update from Atheon. And today we are joined by Andrew Archer, the CEO, and Ryan Burleson, who is the Chief Strategy Officer. And today we're going to chat to the guys. They've got a whole bunch of news, so please watch the video right towards the end. How you doing, guys?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Well,
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't get the NASA t-shirt text, but apart from that, I'm all good.
Yeah, I don't really know how that happened. Ryan was at the office first today, and I walked in, and I had my sweater closed, and I saw him, and I was like, "No way! Look at it! I have the same shirt."
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I feel like the third way though. It's all right.
Together.
Yeah. I bet thinking alike and all the rest of it. Today, it's Ryan's first time on the channel. So, welcome, Ryan. Just for the community, because obviously we've had Andrew on a couple of times. He's been running around. I can't remember last time. Were you in the Czech Republic or somewhere last time we interviewed? You were outside a cafe. We tried to do the interview in an airport and all over the stuff. We've tried everything. But this is the first time for Ryan. So, Ryan, can you just give yourself a little bit of an introduction to everybody, bit of your history and what you currently do at Atheon?
sure. A little bit of okay. Let me define myself first of all, who I really am. I'm a dad, 4 kids, a wife. That's my life. That's the most important thing in my life. But at the end of the day, we all have to make an income and we all have to do something we're proud of. So what I've been doing is I've actually been involved with robotics, AI, etc. in many different industries for almost 23 years. So anyway, bringing all of that together, and Andrew and I have been working together for many years now.
Like 9 years.
Yeah, like 9 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So anyway, but yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I've done a lot of great stuff, had a lot of success, and here I am now.
Cool. And you had the pleasure of going to the World Government Summit quite recently. Could you just give a little bit of a download of what happened there?
Sure. I was actually invited by the Dubai or the UAE's Minister of Artificial Intelligence and the royal family, and to come and be a speaker and help address and present to 206 nations the best practices on AI. And they actually had, this year, there was 250 experts from across all different fields of AI, and we all came together and put together the best practices and a global governance on artificial intelligence and put that report together, and that should be available shortly.
Okay. And in terms of sort of AI, because I've watched sort of Joe Rogan and Elon Musk doing interviews on AI, and he has his own perceptions of it. What are the perceptions of sort of the world governments as such? What's their overview of it?
So, it depends on what it is. There's a lot of different facets. Everybody's definitely interested in security, making sure that everything's secure. But the world is growing at such a fast pace that people are realizing that they need computer help to actually understand what's going on. And the AI, different applications of AI can actually analyze that data so much faster and so much more accurately than most humans can. The interesting thing is, though, the latest trend is that artificial intelligence is great, but it's actually been proven now that artificial intelligence can beat masters at chess or masters in different games. But artificial intelligence, when involved with a different master, can actually beat the artificial intelligence that was beating all the masters. So if you combine AI and humans and that synergy between the two, it performs leaps and bounds ahead of the artificial intelligence by itself, and the AI actually can't catch up.
Interesting. And I suppose that's where you guys come into play, because that's you're fusing the two together in that sense.
Exactly.
It is. And
Yeah.
you know, the latest and greatest thing coming from all of the minds that were put it together at the World Government Summit, it kept coming back to an ecosystem. It's about putting everybody together, making sure that the artificial intelligence is working, making sure that these systems communicate together. And, you know, it's interesting. Most of the reports came back that exactly what Atheon is doing is what every government is moving towards. It's what most big businesses are moving towards. And everybody is looking for the Atheon product. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really cool. Did you get? I seen that Harrison Ford was one of the speakers there. Did you get to meet him?
I did not get to meet him. He's my hero, my childhood hero, but I did not get to meet him, unfortunately.
Oh man, that's a shame. He's I was watching Star Wars at the weekend. Absolutely love it. I was going to get really jealous then, but now I'm not, so it's all right. So obviously, guys, the ICO happened back in June. I can't remember. Yeah, June. Yeah. There's been quite a bit of a gap. There was lots of talk about tokens being released, all the rest of it. There's obviously been, we're going to talk about some key stuff a little bit later on in the interview, but can you just give us a bit of an overview of what's happened within those sort of 7 to 8 months, what are the challenges have been, and sort of why everything has taken as long as it has, really?
Yeah, so I can jump in on that. So, you know, post ICO, we were actually doing a lot of things, and we're still doing a lot of things, but it's not just, most ICOs are jumping in just to start building a product, right? Because it's mostly conceptual, or they're kind of had some MVP or something going on. Well, we were already going into production with products, and we already had, you know, an entire existing system happening. So for us, it was pulling together all of that, pulling it together, the crypto into it. You know, there's we're getting a lot of requests for security concerns, or you know, other things the current crypto is not supporting, like if I lose my wallet, what do I do? Or how do, you know, what if there's a bad transaction? What if there's this? What if there's that? And to get that business adoption, we really had to spend, I mean, we have been developing so much. I mean, it was just so much, and doing beta testing and then testing again, and then it's just not quite right. So we have to test again, or there's a security concern here. So it's been, I don't think anyone is actually sleeping on my team. They're all being pushed pretty much 24/7 every day, every week, in and out. And so really it's making sure when we get to the token unlock that everything is smooth.
Yeah.
We don't have these issues that all of these other chains or projects are having. I mean, you look at even EOS. They were hacked and lost a ton of Ethereum. I mean, everyone has been in crypto so eager to get out of the gate that in hindsight, they should have taken a moment to actually look at everything before they release it into the public. And so really it's been our strategy all along. Atheon has always been a long-term project. So it's just a steady, continuous progress forward.
Well, and there's been a couple of struggles along the way, or a couple of things that came up that, you know, there were, as Andrew was talking about, there's security issues that came up, or there's different things that weren't just quite right. And, you know, we could have released at any time. We could have done this, and we could have tanked with everybody else, and we could have just, you know, been considered failures or whatever. But at the same time, you know, what we're more interested in is the long-term goal, and it's actually making the health of the community, making the product out there. And we have one shot at coming out to the public and making sure that everything is good. And yeah, it's taken a little bit extra time, But the different editions, I'll tell you what, I sincerely believe that the community is going to really be grateful for it. I know the testers that have been on it and actually been using it are amazed at some of the things that we're doing with it, and we'll actually talk about a few of those. But it's like these changes are there for their protection, not necessarily just for us, because we've not been even running on the Ethereum that came in or anything else. We've been running on private funds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. We've also had some other things, such as personal tragedies that have happened or personal emergencies that have happened, and we've been out for a bit of time because a family member was severely ill in the hospital, and making sure that she's taken care of and making sure that that's okay. There's the human element as well. And I know that sometimes the crypto community or the community at large doesn't want to hear stuff like that, but hey, we're real people at the end of the day as well. Yeah. And we actually care about everybody in our life.
Yeah. And the one thing we've always kept in perspective as we're going through this, and why at times it seemed like we had a lack of urgency or something like that, is because at the end of the day, Atheon is designed for businesses to operate on, for people to grow wealth on by developing digibots, by being a specialist, by being a pilot, by being these different things. And people that are non-business owners don't understand, when you decide to put your business on a software platform or implement something into your business, it could literally mean whether or not you put food on the table tomorrow, right? And a lot of people aren't business owners. They don't understand that struggle. So when we're trying to get adoption, the first question these people come to us and ask is especially, with the way a lot of crypto enthusiasts are, is they're very manic, right? And so we've had a lot of times where clients will come to us and say, I'm staking my business that I built, like my father built this business, right? How should I stake this on your platform when I go and look at your community and these people are acting like children? And it's, I understand where they're coming from and where, a lot of the world is coming from when they look at crypto as being kind of childish, because,
some of it is, and some of it's been mishandled.
Yeah.
But
so
the thing is we want to take...
We want to make this professional. We want to be that project that comes out and says, look, like crypto, we came out of crypto on these certain parts, and it's real, it's substantial. You're running a business on it. It's professional. Well, and we want to project that into the entire, world economy.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's professional, but at the same time, we care about other people's family. I care about, people that are on our platform and that are going to be using our service just as much as I do about myself, because I think about the fathers that are out there that have kids that are working 20 hours a day or 18 hours a day or 16 hours a day. If we can give them back a couple of hours a day and help them make a little bit extra money, that's something that most of these small businesses, they can't actually go out there and take time to spend with their kids. They're losing their children's childhood, losing that aspect of it. And Atheon is really set up, and one of our goals is actually to make life easier for people. That's our main goal. That's our main impetus. And if you look at what we do, everything that we do is, how do we make it easier for the business owner? How do we make someone else's life easier? and how do we augment what they're doing? Because these individuals, they're not they're not tax accountants, they're not lawyers, they're not specialists in all of these different areas. They don't have a degree in information technology to set up all of their networks or to set up their computers, etc.
No, there was some guy, typically the business owners is some guy who had a vision or a dream and chased it.
Yeah.
Took that risk.
And God bless them. We want to support those guys, and we want to support all of these guys, because these guys, truthfully, are just like the crypto community. They're dreamers, they're hopers, they have aspirations, and they're out there trying to make this work every day, just like the crypto community is. And Atheon really wants to be that bridge to help everybody come together. Yeah. And we actually think that the product we're going to be releasing shortly is that.
Well, it's that and more.
There's a lot more, actually.
It's
because it reminds me a little bit of when mobile phones first came in, and everyone was like, they were giant sized. You need a buggy for it to pull it around, and everyone was like, this is never going to take off. And like today, I have two of the buggers, one for work, one for personal. Would anybody have predicted that we would have gone from this device that we just can't even live without, and everybody has to have one? And even if you go to the far out reaches of Africa, they got an iPhone or a Samsung, or you know what I mean. It's spread that far and wide.
That was actually a comment that was, or a big topic that was brought up at the World Government Summit. Is the governments are worried about the inequality that's happening in the world, or that are perceived in the world. And a couple of these African communities came and stood up in the group, and they said, I'll tell you, we have almost as much internet access as any of the developed countries because we have mobile phones. They said, you may not have power, but you have a mobile phone. You don't have a TV, you don't have anything else. You may not have running water, but you have a mobile phone.
I went to a crypto thing ages ago, and there was a project there looking at these types of issues, and they're actually saying that in some of the less developed countries, they can actually leapfrog more of the bigger countries, UK, Europe, States and stuff, just because we have so much red tape in the middle. We've got banks and stuff. In some places, they don't have banks, and they can leapfrog that technology to a completely different level, and everyone else would be chasing because they've got to go through all that red tape. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's, we saw that from last year's World Government Summit. We kind of saw that writing on the wall. So a lot of Ryan's time has been reaching out specifically to those countries, talking with them, talking to them about the Atheon platform. And so his team has a lot in the works on just, government development, business development, all those regions, because they have no infrastructure. It's all bartering, right?
Well, and the other thing is okay, you take some of the developed world, such as the United States, okay? Whenever a politician changes office, so one is voted out, another one's voted in, there's a lot of issues that fall through the cracks. There's a lot of waste in the economy. There's a lot of gap that happens there. Some programs fall down. Some things just completely go away because they're completely ignored, or someone didn't even know about them. But with Atheon, with artificial intelligence, what we can do is we can actually keep those processes running seamlessly and running smoothly, regardless of who comes into power. We can take care and make sure that, all of the lights on, that Social Security and services like that are taken care of.
Yeah, utilities.
Utilities are kept for people that need those. All of that stuff is so simple, but it's something that we're actually providing a basis and ability that even developed countries really need.
That's interesting. I won't mention Trump at all. He's a character. I think he spends more time on Twitter than he does in the White House.
Yeah,
Aggravating people. So we've got some big news today, and I suppose it's the big one that everyone's been waiting for, is about the tokens and being unlocked. Now, one of the things, obviously, when you guys were talking about you taking your time and stuff, I've got like a little group, and I think that the word is, that we're close. And one of them said, "Oh no, not yet. It's my best investment," because obviously all the other ICOs have released. The prices have absolutely tanked, and for most people, including myself, because just thinking about it, it's actually my best investment from 2018 because it's held its value because it's been locked.
Right.
So thumbs up there, guys. Thumbs up.
Thanks.
For those people, all those that were crying before, they can, when they think about this, go, "Oh, actually, it is a good investment." Yeah. We are going to talk about unlocking the tokens. So I'll hand it over to you guys. What's the process? When can we expect this to happen? And any things that people may need to do to ensure that they get their tokens unlocked properly, etc.
Yeah. So we've been putting a lot of effort and testing into how this goes because we want to make sure it's a very smooth unlock. So the unlock will actually be happening on Tuesday the 26th. And we will be opening registration on Monday the 25th. So people can go in. The KYC will be reopening for anyone who had KYC issues. And what we've done is created a system where individuals can unlock themselves. Now, traditionally, on a token unlock, the contract sends out all of the tokens and then they're immediately unlocked. Well, what we've seen this past year is a lot of people have forgotten their wallets, or they had keys for their wallets, or they had problems, or something they didn't remember, or they have the wrong address, and then
or we watch the exchanges getting hacked. We see a lot of these issues.
And so what ended up happening is we came to unlock at the end of December, and we were in our final stages of checks, running everything, and we go to check the addresses and some of the KYC, because it's the last step really, and almost, I forget the percentage off the top of my head, it was a massive percentage of either wallets were completely missing from their account, like there was no address, KYC wasn't done, just a myriad of discrepancies. So for us to effectively unlock, if we had unlocked at that time, we would then spend the next several months trying to individually repair people's wallets because either A, they didn't have their address correct, they didn't have it in at all, or there was some KYC problem. Yeah. So the entire team would spend thousands of hours going over thousands of people's individual problems to fix it. So we stepped back and we looked at this and said, okay, how can we unlock in a way that allows each individual user to go in, update data if they need to, and then unlock at that time, right? So it's basically 180 degrees of all the work we just did. So we looked at it, we came up with a strategy, and with some features that are going to be coming out later in 6, 8, 12 months, we decided to pull some of those tasks ahead of time and roll out what we call Atheon Treasury. And effectively how that works is that is part of that management pool of tokens in our allocation. And so with Atheon Treasury, you can actually have accounts within Atheon, and this later is tying into, we'll tie into fiat accounts and requirements that business owners need to do transactions and things like that, that we have in alpha testing right now. And effectively what now we have is a user can log in, they can go to their account, which is in Treasury, they'll see their account, they can enter their address from the one of the token sales, It will tell them this is how many tokens were allocated to you during this token sale. It tells you if your KYC is verified, if you need to update that. And then we've added verification in there to do a signing of the wallet, so we know it's actually you. What's happening with a lot of these token releases and these exchange problems is there's no way to actually verify the wallet, so people are putting in someone will spoof the wallet, or we saw people trying to crawl effectively Etherscan, and if they found a wallet that was not in our system, they would try to add it to their account. Previously, that was happening. And so effectively, people are trying to take other people's tokens.
Right.
Because I know from talking to you before, you guys are incredibly hot on anything untoward going on. You pick up on it very, very quickly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Even the fuddy meisters.
We use some pretty serious security software.
Yeah, I don't think people realize what we have running in our Telegram channel. I mean,
oh, really?
We're very, we know a lot of information. I mean, we're leveraging tools that we've built for certain purposes.
Some of the stuff that we're running is actually running in branches of the military, for the United States military, for security.
So we're not.
I'm expecting one of these Johnny Five robots now.
Nothing bad.
We take our community's security very, very seriously.
Yes.
I mean, it goes back to, this is a long-term project, and we want businesses, massive businesses that we have running on this, to be comfortable, to feel safe.
Yeah.
Right? Need that safety. So everyone from me or you on the platform, we have our own particular safety, to enterprise, governments. Everyone has to have that level of safety. So we've implemented a lot of security features around our unlock and in the token system itself.
Well, and there's a lot of scenarios that we didn't expect and truthfully just didn't plan for at the very beginning, such as what happens when a divorce happens. How do you split up those assets?
Too.
How do you split up the assets when a domestic partnership splits up, whatever? And so we've actually made provisions. We've made abilities for stuff to happen in there. If one person passes away, and
what happens?
And the spouse passes away and has the keys, but the other spouse is still alive. Does all of their tokens and everything else just disappear? I mean, they're
just frozen forever,
and no one can do with it. We've been addressing all of these issues to make sure that people are taken care of.
Well, I've had to do. I had a similar thought, because I was thinking, I've got to a point where I'm holding serious amounts of tokens across many different projects. I thought, if I die, what will happen? So I've got everything in a folder for my sister, and I've got to train my sister on how to do crypto now, so at least she can access it, so she can get the money and look after my son and stuff. Because I didn't even think about it. First year, I was just like, woo, just went for it, and it wasn't even a second thought. But when you step back,
and that's a good step right there. What you're doing is for planning for your son's future and stuff, and we do that for my children and stuff like that. I do that as well. But what happens if someone gets in there and steals all your tokens? Okay? If someone comes in there and tries to steal all of that, what happens?
Yeah, they do a DNS attack on my Ether wallet and take everything.
Well, you're left holding the bag, unfortunately. But with Atheon, we actually have ways to get around that to where you get your stuff, you get your Atheon tokens back.
Oh, wow. I had stuff on Cryptopia, not a lot. It was about a few, $200-$400, but I know there's people that had thousands and thousands of dollars on there, and that was huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that in itself is a game changer. If someone gets, because I actually in another project, one of the guys, I'm actually holding his Atheon tokens for him. he had another project he went into, and someone got into his MyEther wallet, stole all of his tokens. So, I mean, that's awesome news. And I think that is in itself quite a huge thing in crypto. I've never heard of anything like that so far.
Well, and the thing is what happens if an exchange just completely goes down?
Right.
What happens, you know, if it goes insolvent or whatever, if that exchange totally crashes, how are people protected? Well, we want our community, we want our token holders to actually be protected. At the end of the day, like I was saying, we want to treat the people in the community as if they were our family.
Right.
That's really an Atheon core value.
And just for those who have bounties, will theirs be released at the same time, or will that be a later date? Or
That will be a later date. Right now, we're just focusing on the token holders that participated in one of the token sales.
Yeah.
To make sure they're settled, they understand how everything's working.
It'll be shortly after.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure, and we do things step by step, make sure everything's in line. You know, crawl before you walk, walk before you run, run before you fly.
Indeed. And that sort of leads me to my next question. Obviously, tokens unlocked, people will then be expecting exchanges. Can you talk about anything at this moment in time?
Well, we can't release. Obviously, we can't say anything ahead of time because it's leading to speculation. But it will be coming soon after.
Very soon.
Okay, I'll look forward to our next video when we do that, the big release. You guys have obviously been very, very busy. You've been working on a whole bunch of products. Can you just tell me how many products you have been working on at this current moment in time?
Yeah, so my team, so we're split between obviously software and hardware because Atheon does both. And so actually right now running through the facility, the manufacturing facility in India, we have 21 products on the lines. We got some of our samples off the line earlier here in February. Some of the beta teams got to see some of that. And actually, we have a video clip for you of that.
And in that particular clip, can you just talk through that particular product?
Yeah, so one of the products that we're rolling out is a point of sale. And it's not just, it started off as a point of sale, but then it morphed into what else can we really do with this technology? How can we make individuals' lives easier at work? How can we take on, different things for business owners to take off the load of IT, things like that. And, I'm thinking about a lot of business owners, they don't have an IT department. They don't know what they need. They don't know how they need it. They're focused on their business, right? And so what we did is we took the same systems running our POC and we just made it a lot bigger because we have enough processing power on our SOMs. So effectively, we now have a small point of sale for those business owners for their cash register type operations or small operations like that. But now we have a full-size 24-inch computer.
Thin client.
Yeah. So it's effectively a thin client that we can stream. It runs on our own operating system called AOS, and it will effectively stream the Atheon platform to that desktop. So now, instead of, in a business having to invest a lot of expense into desktop computers, trying to figure out the passwords, onboarding a new employee, getting them a password, wiping the old computer, trying to get the file system set up,
setting up all email, doing all your licenses, changing everything over, making sure that everything's set back up.
Effectively, we will be able to have an onboarding kit that Atheon organizations will be able to buy from us. And it's effectively they bring on a new employee onto their organization, and we ship them a box that's ready to go. And they just plug it in, and someone can start working. What we've also done in that same unit is there is a panel in the back that you can actually take off, which is very cool for the creators using Creator Studio and the OEMs using our hardware, SOMs and things like that, because now they can actually open the back of the system, and there's actually a development board built into the back plane of these computers, these thin clients. So now we have modules that they can plug into the system. They can develop right on the system using the screen with our built-in IDE, and they're testing the hardware in real time for their own purposes. So it's basically completely almost hackable, which is super, super cool.
Yep. And the cool thing with that is that now you've got, Atheon, like I said, it's about the end client. It's about making sure that the end client's taken care of. Because if we take care of the client is going to take care of Atheon. There's a reciprocal relationship there, but the client comes first. So what we're doing is making sure that these things are like this. If the client has an issue or needs something, they can go through the Creator Studio and request new things through the Creator Studio or on the communities. And as they need additional things or whatever, this is something that businesses have never been able to do. Like a small business, like a little bakery or whatever, they couldn't ask for something to be
custom.
Yeah, something custom, and they may have a bright idea, but how do they actually make that happen? Well, through Atheon, they actually can, through the Creator Studio.
Effectively, every maker or hacker type person out there playing with hardware, playing with Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, things like that, they can easily start working with Atheon hardware and start producing products on their spare time and launching them right into the marketplace that other people can consume. So it's really cool because we've created this way for suppliers to supply what they know how to do, whether it's AI or hardware related or any process automation, and then there's consumers.
And businesses can go out there and search through the marketplace, just like the App Store, just like anything like that. And they can actually search for products, or they can search for applications. They can search for whatever they want, custom templates of different things. So now,
it's very cool.
All of these creators can put their stuff up there, have them for sale, just like on a marketplace, on Google Marketplace or on, Apple Marketplace, and you can actually have these app stores that are now people who are individual, crypto owners or crypto holders, developers, dreamers, whatever it may be. They can actually create their content with the Atheon drag and drop widgets, with all of these pieces, and actually create the content and actually start making a business for themselves. And they can make an entire business out of serving other people and building up the betterment of humanity and making other people's lives better. It's a great concept and a great reality that's getting ready to come forward.
Because I was going to say, the only thing you can never buy is time.
That's correct.
Exactly,
And that's, if you can save time and spend time doing the things that you love, if that's traveling, if that's family, whatever, and that's always got to be a benefit.
Exactly. And so that to make sure we had the infrastructure in place to do that, we obviously can develop all of this hardware and whatnot, but it has to communicate. It has to be able to, span the globe, right? Multiple countries, multiple telecom networks, remote areas, all of these places. And so we spent a significant amount of time working on partnerships and different relationships to make sure that these devices can work anywhere on the globe.
And they're going to be in accordance with local laws, with all of that. I mean, it's been a massive undertaking. And
yeah, I mean, we're regulating new hardware, especially, all of our devices have one or dual cellular modems built in, redundant Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, near RF. When you start talking about wireless spectrums and regulations and testing, and then certifications for ULCE, CTIC, on the electrical. There's just, I can't express how difficult it is to take just one product, one product from beginning a life cycle to launch, and
in one country.
Or one region, and we've managed to do 21.
Yeah.
So wow. I'm proud of our team.
And it's 21 of these products, not including the other robotics.
This is outside of the robotics.
This is outside of the full robotics phase as well, and the full robotics side. This is just to help with Creator Studio and to help
businesses
succeed.
Yeah, and a lot of this hardware will be rolled into our piloting and specialist program too, for their use.
And I remember when I first sort of reviewed you guys way back in the day, concepts of products, and the one I really liked the most was the parking one. When you go to the airport and the platform just gets your car.
Yep.
'Cause I got to go to Ireland in a couple of weeks, and I'm just like, I got to get on a bus. It's a nightmare. That was my favourite product. What is your favourite Atheon product?
Well,
oh man,
it's interesting. While he's thinking about that, I got to make a comment about what you're saying, because Atheon actually is the sole manufacturer for Smart City Robotics now.
Okay.
And Smart City Robotics, as of a couple of weeks ago, came out in the International Parking Publication as the 11th largest parking OEM in the world now. So,
yeah, that's cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
And we do everything for Smart City Robotics.
Oh, ace.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just dropping that big bomb in there. Just dropping that big bomb in there.
See, that's the thing. That's so funny. The funny thing about this is, and unfortunately, we can't publicly talk about these projects right now, but we'd know what's coming, because we're spending so much time and dedication and hours on these systems, and most ICOs are dropping a bomb like that, and we oftentimes, we're so entrenched, we just forget about the accomplishments we've actually made. Like that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. I wouldn't have even mentioned that on the video.
Just leave the small details out, don't worry.
Yeah, because
it's actually a small detail. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, and so but my favorite product, man, what is your favorite product?
My favorite product. I know.
Go for it.
All right. My favorite product is actually the specialist program. And it's not actually a hard product, but what it is that, okay, because AI and robotics is never perfect, you look at it and you have 100 or so doctors competing against an AI in China to diagnose different diseases. And the AI gets 80%, 82% correct. It's never 100%. It's never perfect or anything else. There's always a need for that human to be in there. But truly, in my humble opinion, the specialist program or the robotic pilot program is really my favorite programs. That's my favorite robots. Because, it is. Because it actually encompasses so much and helps so many other things. So, all right.
Okay. Mine would probably be the Avalon Psalm. So, well, I designed it, but that's the reason why it's my favorite. But the Avalon Psalm, it's a system on a module, and actually the screen in the video we sent you, it's powering that. And so,
Okay.
you know, when over my entire career building robotic systems, it's always been an issue with hardware because you either have industrial grade PLCs, things like that you have to work with, or if you're trying to build, and those just the flexibility on those and what you can do, it's just, they just frankly just suck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you want something better, you had to develop your own entire circuit board, processor, RAM, memory, storage, all of these things, which takes a really long time. Or you could buy, some sort of processor board and work off that, like a PC-104. And it was always really painful because you're always starting from ground zero. You have to build the telecommunications layer. You have to build the internal communications layer. You have to build, the server side systems for it to communication between devices. All of this has to be built before you even can say go, like let's actually start creating something cool. And that always drove me insane because I spent, like I say, a programmer spends 80% of their time trying to figure out what to name something, and then the other 20% is spent programming. Well, my other 20% that I'm programming, 90% of that 20% I'm spending programming drivers or redundant things, and it's not going to matter on the next project. And so last year I set out to solve that problem.
Well, it wouldn't in the old versions. It does now.
Yeah, it solved it now. So last year I set out to solve that problem because I just got tired of it. And I designed this SOM, and it's a system on a module. It's a computer, and it runs around a TI Satera processor, which is it's a dual core ARM A15. So it has some power to it. But then it also has built-in DSPs, so you can do image processing on the fly and all of these things. So the processor is super cool. But then I coupled it with an Intel FPGA. And I don't know if anyone knows what an FPGA is, but essentially an FPGA is like a silicon dream. Yeah. It essentially starts out as nothing. So you can tell it to be whatever you want it to be. And so if you want it to be a processor, it'll be a processor. If you want it to be some specific logic combination and array, it will be that. And you can change it on the fly. So you can completely change the I/O of the device however you want it.
Right.
So on top of that, I added, redundant cellular, redundant Wi-Fi, all of these things, and made it into one component. And it's completely interlaced in Atheon. So now, what is so beautiful and why I like this so much is anyone can now buy this. Their infrastructure is completely done for them, and we've wrapped a bunch of cool programming languages around it. So you can program anything from C++, Python, JavaScript, and we even have, it's based on MIT Scratch, a building block language that even Ryan's 5-year-old programs.
Yep, she actually programs them. She can program on these modules and literally make everything work.
Yeah, so it has taken basically all of that frustration, and probably the engineers will hear more of this and be more excited than anyone, but it allows us to, when we decide to actually create something and we're excited about it and passionate about it, we can just grab the devices and start working on what we actually want to work on. We don't have to work on all the bullshit.
Right. Well,
get to the place where we want to go.
See, the thing that Andrew's not explaining here is most of the industry out there is still working with PLCs or working with, small PC 104 boards or working with some old antiquated system. With this, and those have very stringent I/O modules.
Yeah, it's all
you
fixed.
can basically add a couple of things here and there, but at the end of the day, it's very cumbersome to actually troubleshoot those things, to go through and do anything with them to make them useful across a broad range or a broad spectrum of applications. Mm-hmm. The other thing is having it to where it can control a motor, having it to where it can control a device, or it can control a digital robot, or even and the thing is none of these have artificial intelligence on them as well to help learn and help augment the process and help augment the customer and help them actually teach and learn and improve whatever may be out there. And all of this data that's out there and all of these systems, they're very unintelligent. Yeah. So there's massive data loss that's happening. And because of all this massive data loss, there's a lot of advancements that we as a society can have, and we're not getting them. There's a lot of...
Well, because most of the systems are disconnected.
They're disconnected,
Mm-hmm. You can't update them. You can't... They're stale.
And the way that Atheon is built, and this SOM... This SOM in particular is pretty amazing. I'll be quite honest. The way that it does is it can actually communicate with all of these different devices and all of these different systems that don't talk to each other. In the past, businesses have just tried to produce a product and say, here's my product. You need to buy this. This is awesome. It's better than this guy because of this reason. This is it. Atheon comes out, and our main thing is, you know what? We're here to help you. I don't care if it's company XYZ, if it's Atheon's robotics, if it's another company's robotics, whatever, or if it's another company's AI, or another company's, SEO that's coming on board, or whatever. All of these things are just meant to help the customer. Mm-hmm. So it's literally taking a leap and bound forward from the technology that's been out there. Hardware, software is awesome, light years ahead. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So that's my favorite.
I was Andrew explaining. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. It just sounds like you guys are really sort of future-proofing and also avoiding some of the sticking points, some like Apple at the moment. So, for instance, Apple they're pretty much the opposite. You got to buy their stuff for it to really work. Even the chargers and everything else. If you don't get the official Apple ones, after an update, your charger doesn't work anymore, and it feels like you guys are trying to connect everybody together rather than connect them to just your product.
Yeah, the reality of it is, Apple is trying to keep you in an environment that's closed and fix you to their products, right? But the problem with that, I see, is Apple can never create enough hardware to make everyone happy, right? So that's where you have the Android community and the Apple community, because it's basically you have your Apple users and then everyone else. And we know that, I could work 24 hours a day until I die, right? And I can make our entire team do that. But we know we will never be able to build every tool, every app, every specific piece of hardware, or whatever else it is that a business is looking for. And so from the outset, we knew this. And so the tools that we're using, because we built our own build tools, our own IDE, all of these things to build Atheon, because its build process is very complex. The entire cluster and the schema and how things are interacting and the real-time protocols involved, and all of these things are very complex. So we had to build our own build tools just to build the software. And so what we did is we wrapped the Creator Studio around those, made sure we made devices that OEMs could use if they decided to run their own products in a manufacturing sense and everything. So we can give those tools to everyone and say, look, we have our main Atheon course, which is outlined in everything we've talked about. And if you want to work on something outside of that and incorporate it into the system, awesome. Here's the tools.
Yeah.
Go have fun, explore, build, create. Because if everyone is involved, then it creates a really wide system for adoption.
Right.
And also the innovation as well. Just so many.
Exactly.
It's brain power versus,
Exactly.
So that's a really interesting sort of concept, and it's sort of where I think a lot of big companies have failed because they just want you to use their thing. So that's really exciting. There's obviously you've been building your team. How big is the team now, and is there any specific positions that you're looking for currently?
I actually don't even know how big the team is right now. We're growing at an exponential rate. It was this week we hired 4 more devs.
Yeah, we're hiring 4 devs or so a week
at
least right now, and that's before additional stuff that's coming up that we know is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, so we have a lot of, our team basically is split between 3 offices in India right now, soon to be a 4th. And then we just moved the Ukrainian office to a bigger office at the beginning of February, which we've already outgrown.
We've now outgrown the new office.
Yeah, so we're trying to get more space within the building we're in. Luckily, our end goal, and I put this in a video in our Telegram, is they're building a new building right now within Unit City. It's not finished yet for a couple more months though. And so our goal is to take either the 3rd or 4th floor of that space when it's finished. It's just we're kind of cramped right now.
Well, and that'll take us through September, October, end of year. And
yeah, so we're growing exponentially. In India, we're bringing on a lot of hardware developers. So if you're talking about job openings, I'll just kind of pitch everyone right now. We're hiring, right?
Yeah, we really are.
Mike, please, we're hiring now.
I'll put some contact details at the bottom of the video, so if anyone is interested, then they can contact you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We're hiring in India. We need robot installers for the robots we're working on there. We need those in 3 different cities. In the 3 of those offices. We're hiring mean stack developers at the facility in India and assemblers.
Yeah.
In Kyiv, we have 26 mean stack developer open positions. So that we're bringing on.
Yeah, not including biz dev, not including office.
I don't even know how many people are biz dev.
Yeah. Not including all the biz dev, not including all of the office support staff, not including.
Yeah. So we're heavily hiring in biz dev as well. So business development in Europe, and we will be hiring. We're looking right now in Austin.
Yeah.
For people. So anybody in Austin that's in biz dev, hit us up.
Indeed, and I'll put the details at the bottom so people can get in contact with you guys. One of the key things that there was a newsletter that came out quite recently, and about the amounts and the different types of partnerships that you have going on. Can you just talk about some of those key partnerships and what does that mean for Atheon?
Sure. Yeah. So, when having all of these devices, right? We're talking about devices, cellular communication, specialists, pilots, robots, ecosystem, all of these things, right? They have to seamlessly work together, else it just doesn't work.
Right.
And all of this relies on communications. And so we set out starting to partner with and discover who is the best in the telecom industry. Like, what is the best hardware? What are people doing? Who has the most fiber? Who has the best cellular networks? Who has the best,
What's the best
satellite
coverage?
systems? Yeah. And so, there's as far as technology like bonding, where you take multiple data connections and bond them together into one channel. So you have failover, things like that. And so we started doing a lot of research, meeting with people, talking with people. And one company that has always stuck out to me is Peplink. And I've used their hardware for about 5 years now. And what Peplink does and is very good at doing is creating, taking multiple telecommunication connections and using software, bonding them and packetizing that information and sending it to another endpoint. And basically creating this tunnel that is nearly unbreakable. And so what the benefit of that is you can have a system like we used it in our driverless vehicle while we're crossing the mountains for communications. You can have a system like that connected to the cloud through either satellite connections, cellular connections, like your typical cable internet or whatever it is, and it will bond all of those together and load balance that data to make sure it's lossless. Mm-hmm. And so we reached out to them and start talking to them about what we were doing and about what they were doing, where they were going with the company, and came to the grounds of synergy where we're going to start working on, they're a hardware company as well, so we're going to start working on some joint hardware projects. They have, and I recommend everyone to go check out their hardware. It's Peplink. They have anywhere from routers, firewalls, to cellular-based communication devices, all of these things. So we're going to be working together to incorporate their software and some of their hardware and merge it with some of our SOMs and some of our robots. We're directly integrating these things at the circuit board level. So we will be able to, all of the Atheon devices will take advantage of the Peplink bonding technology, which is super cool, because now these robots and these devices are essentially bonded to a network and their communication systems won't fail. They'll always be connected.
And it sounds like it's just like a universal piece of kit that will just do everything automatically, load.
Exactly. It is. Exactly. Yeah. So we're working together with them, incorporating some of our hardware, some of their hardware, doing a lot of work together on, firmware API integrations, all at the, in driver level, very deep, like PCI driver level and whatnot. And it's really, really cool. Yeah, so we're going to be able to bond all of these systems together and have lossless communication. And with that, we knew that our clients, the business clients, they have to buy IT hardware and things like this, and do all this configuration, or how do I set up this Wi-Fi network, or whatever it is, right? And so that's where we came in and partnered with Frontier to effectively get access to, VoIP phones, any type of other hardware, computer hardware, something specific a customer might need. That way we can set up a program where, for those businesses that don't want to be doing all this IT configurations or whatnot, they can just we have these pre-designed kits for employee types, and which ties into our HR program that we'll be releasing at the end of the quarter. And they effectively, when they onboard an employee, a kit arrives and they have all the hardware they need. They just plug it in and they get to work.
Yeah.
Making it nice and simple.
Yeah, they don't have to have a massive IT staff or anything like that. And not only that, but let's say that staff member now goes from Ukraine to work in UK or to work in Hong Kong or whatever. They can they don't have to take that hardware with them or anything else. They can go and sign in at the other location, and all of their desktop, everything else, all of their icons, everything else, their licenses are all waiting for them. So the computer is comfortable, it's familiar, and
and it's all integrated through the Atheon user management for the org.
That's right.
So it simplifies the entire process.
Yeah. Are there any other big partnerships that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so with that, we knew we had these thin clients, and they're producing a direct connection with Atheon, but I'm also have a background in mechanical engineering, so I love CAD, right? Well, what about the guys like me, right? Or the designers, or someone who needs a traditional computer experience, not just one of the experiences that Atheon presents, right? And so we knew we'd have to support some type of traditional computing experience. And so we started looking again for partners. And I'm happy to announce that we have partnered with Dell.
Nice.
And yes, so it's really great. And specifically, we're going to be working with their server systems, and they also have a Teradici powered thin client. And that probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but what that means is that it's PC over IP. And so now what we can do and what we're working on is deploying alongside our Atheon thin client, Dell thin client systems, and virtual environments that have unlimited power for those desktop users. Mm-hmm. So they can have Windows, Linux, and Mac OS X on the fly assigned to their user profile, and it's really cool. Actually,
Wow.
It's really cool.
so now if you want to use Mac OS or you want to use Linux or you want to use Windows, whatever, it doesn't matter. The hardware isn't what matters anymore.
No. So we're eliminating all of that and pushing it onto Dell stuff. Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, and like we said earlier, it doesn't matter if it's our product, if it's another product. We want to make sure that the best experience is there for the customer.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. There's been some big bombs dropped tonight, and it's good to catch up with you guys. And obviously, I think the community are going to be very excited about some of the news that's come out, even though Andrew might have forgot some of bits and pieces. I'm sure we'll come back later with some. Oh yeah, we just got this deal with this one. Oh, but no, there's some absolutely great things today, and also I think some of the things I've taken away is that listening to the conversation and really just sort of maybe a summary for everybody that's sort of been watching is that you guys have, you've been very smart, I think, in terms of not rushing the product to get it out to market just because peer pressure or communities crying or whatever. You've taken the time, due diligence to really do that. I think obviously we talked about that potentially for most people this is probably their best investment because they haven't lost any value. It's good to see that you guys are just real down to earth guys, family guys, like a lot of people that will be in the community. Some huge things that you've dropped tonight: the Dell partnership, Smart City Robots, 21 products running off the line. It's huge. Token unlock, exchange, and we'll talk about that on a different video. Huge amounts of news tonight, and I really do appreciate. There was one question I did have. I did an interview with Andrew some time ago. There was a big deal that you guys had done, which was, again, why you guys have been sort of running around like headless chickens trying to do everything. Is there any updates on that particular project, or?
So we are working on that in production right now.
Okay.
It's grown much larger than what it was.
Oh wow, because it was quite big to start off with.
Yeah, well, effectively, other parties, other things got involved, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just become a very, very, very large project to what it was compared to before. Well, and so we're really, part of our exponential growth, or our mass amount of jobs we require right now, is just to try to keep up with the capacity of where we need to be in the coming months, to ramp that project up, because it's besides doing everything else we've talked about in this video, it's a lot of work just in the manufacturing side. You look all over at like Tesla trying to produce cars, and it's such a struggle, right? We're trying to produce an unfathomable amount of robots, and it's just never been done like this. So
it's a fun challenge.
It's fun, but it's a lot of work.
Well, it's a fun challenge.
It's best to have them than not, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. I'm not complaining.
It's a great challenge to have while doing everything else we've been talking about, and making sure that all of that's taken.
Yourself. I'm the one that has to make sure it gets built. I'm like dying over here.
We're both sick right now, as you can tell. But no, here in about a month and a half, you'll actually get to see. You'll start being able to release videos of the robots.
Yeah,
we'll actually be able to show the robots running around and doing some of the stuff. Still won't be able to talk about who the partnership is.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty cool stuff that's happening and coming along. But at least people will be able to see the robots running around, see stuff happening. I'm sure Andrew will make them dance or do some weird stuff as well.
Definitely. That'll be the video you see.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I actually have a whole, in my mind, this idea of a restaurant with these robots twirling food around, and flashing lights and stuff, and disco robot moves and stuff. But maybe someday.
Yeah, and with that, okay.
No, that's cool, because I know that was one thing that I know some of the community were very interested by, because it was when we did the video, it was a big deal, and it sounds like it's even bigger than before, which is really good news. And obviously that use case scenario of Atheon, which is really where I think a lot of ICO projects are lagging. They've got this product, and I think you might want to use it. You've got a product, and somebody's already bought in big style.
Right, exactly. And
multiple.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely still in progress, and it's moving a lot quicker and a lot faster in this form of capacity than we thought it would be. So, but we'll be very excited to release it when we can.
Awesome, awesome.
Game changer.
It sounds it, and I think this is the exciting bit about it all, that there's so much going on that we might not hear from you on Twitter and all this type of thing, but I know from the conversations that we have that you guys are, got the matchsticks in your eye, you're going full tonk, and that this is going to be an absolute game changer for the whole, not just for robotics and AI, but crypto in it as well, because it's the full package, really.
Right. Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the beta testers for helping us test this, because
definitely,
while we're quiet in the chats, we're usually talking with people testing something or trying something. I know I am for sure, day and night,
all the time.
We're always testing, and so Thank you to those guys for all of your input, all of your hard work, their late nights, trying these things, weekends. I talk to those guys more than I talk to my family, which is kind of sad. But and anyone else that wants to get deeply involved in this, please reach out to us, join the beta testing program, because there's always room for more people to try out these things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun trying new things, because essentially, they get the first crack at it and get to optimize it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the next video we do, we'll have to do a little earlier in the day, and you can see the staff at the office and actually maybe get to meet a few of them as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I can do it'll be a super early one for me, but it'll be probably quite nice for you guys.
Yeah.
Because obviously the time difference, and maybe at one point, maybe towards, I don't know, mid-year, might even fly over and see you guys as well. That might be quite cool.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
And we can do another catch up and stuff. Well, I just want to say a massive thank you, guys. I think the whole community are going to be very excited by this video, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to do this for me as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
No worries.
Great talk. We'll see you later.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Cool,
Cheers.
man. I'll what I'll do is can this go out as soon as it's ready and edited?
Yeah, I think so. Or do we want to release on a specific time? What's the...
Yeah.
Maybe we say tomorrow at... Because a lot of people have questions, right? So maybe we set a time tomorrow. What time is good for you tomorrow? That way we can be on the Telegram and stuff.
Yeah.
But so I'll just edit this now, and then I'll set it on schedule, so I can set it to go at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, or whenever you think is a good time.
Yeah. Let's do it at
3
3-ish.
3 p.m. tomorrow, Kyiv time would be perfect.
Kyiv time, so that's going to be you're 2 hours ahead, so it'll be 5. No, it's going to be 1 p.m. UK time. Cool. I'll edit that tonight, and then that'll be ready, and I'll get that going, and then I should be able to send you a link pre-hand, but you'll have to wait till 1 p.m. for it to kick in live on YouTube, and then we'll be ready to rock. Awesome. Cool, guys. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to spend the rest of the evening editing and go through this. So I really appreciate your time, guys. And
Appreciate you too.
yeah, no worries, man. And yeah, let me know. We'll try and if you want, we'll try and do a few more regular videos, and just just keep the community updated. Any little, even if it's just like a 10-minute video, those types of things just keeps the community calm and informed and on board and all the rest of it. And I think they're really cool.
Well, and with you being in the UK, maybe we have you just come over to the office and actually do it in the office.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I've got all the gear and lights and bits and pieces I can bring with us. So
Cool.
excellent.
That'd be great.
Awesome, man. Thank you, guys, and
right.
I'll catch up with you very, very soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right, see you, gang. Bye.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks.
I'm feeling